Welcome to SSUC. Welcome to Spiritual Seekers United in Community. Welcome to our spiritual gathering for Sunday, April the 25th. Welcome to those joining us from the Edmonton area, from our satellite community in SSUC Saskatoon, from Toronto, from Kelowna, from the US, from wherever you join us today. Welcome. We welcome the entire human family. All ages, all colors, all sizes, all cultures, all genders, all sexualities, all religions, all abilities, all traditions. What unites us is our desire to create community where we all belong. So today, as you join us, welcome. And know that we are a part of each other. We acknowledge that here on this part of the prairies, we're located on Treaty 6 territory where we commit to respecting the history, languages, and cultures of the First Nations and Métis people. As we honor this relationship and commitment, we ask that you also acknowledge the land and its history wherever you find yourselves today. Grateful and hopeful for the future of our relationships, Indigenous and non-Indigenous alike. Along with my teammate Nancy Steeves, Micah and Carolyn, our musicians, Dara and Noah, our tech team, we welcome you to this experience of part 3 of our series, Dinner Table Wisdom. Today, the menu. The table is set and the menu is before us. And now we ponder, we make the decisions about our meal together. And as we take a moment to do that, let's light our candles. We invite you to light your candles at home as a way to affirm that we are connected with one another. All our homes, individuals, couples, families, lighting their candles together across the miles. At any point and all points in our gathering, we return to this candle. To remember the spark of wisdom that is amongst us and within us. To remember the light of life in us all. To remember the flame of love, compassion, and belonging that unite us and strengthen us always. So we open with a song to our earth and about our earth, sung from us people of earth. Let's be in this music together. This week's Time for All Ages is about food. It's about a table we share. It's about our openness to menus like and dislike our own. The story this morning is called Yoko, and it's by Rosemary Wells. "What would you like for lunch today, my little cherry blossom?" asked Yoko's mother. "All my favorite things, please," answered Yoko. Yoko's mother spread steamed rice on a bamboo mat. She rolled up a secret treasure inside each piece. Then she packed it all in a willow-covered cooker. "Have a wonderful day at school, my little cherry blossom," said Yoko's mother. "I will," answered Yoko. Yoko said hello to all her friends. Everyone in Miss Jenkins' class sang the good morning song. At noon, Mrs. Jenkins rang the lunch bell. "Lunch boxes out and open, please, boys and girls," said Mrs. Jenkins. Timothy unwrapped a peanut butter and honey sandwich. Valerie had cream cheese and jelly. Fritz had a meatball grinder. Tulip had Swiss cheese on rye. Hazel had egg salad on pumpernickel. Doris had squeezed cheese on white. And the Franks had Franks and beans, of course. Yoko opened the willow-covered cooler. Inside was her favorite sushi. Tucked in the white rice rolls were the crispiest cucumber, the pinkest shrimp, the greenest seaweed, and the tastiest tuna. "What's in your lunch?" asked one of the Franks. "Ick! It's gross! It's seaweed!" "Oh no," said the other Frank. "Don't tell me that's raw fish." "Watch out, it's moving," said Doris. "Yuck-o-rama," said Tulip and Fritz. Valerie blew the playtime whistle. "Everyone outside," said Valerie. Yoko did not want to play ball or swing on the swings. "What's wrong, Yoko?" asked Mrs. Jenkins. "Everybody laughed at my lunch," answered Yoko. "They'll forget about it by snack time," said Mrs. Jenkins. But they didn't. During the snack time song, Yoko opened a thermos cup of red bean ice cream. "Red bean ice cream is for weirdos," snorted the Franks. Mrs. Jenkins switched to the friendly song. Mrs. Jenkins knew the friendly song was not enough, though. Late into the evening, Mrs. Jenkins fretted about Yoko. Finally, the answer came to her. "Dear parents, Monday will be International Food Day at Hilltop School. Everyone is asked to bring in a dish from a foreign country. Everyone must try a bite of everything. Happy cooking, Mrs. Jenkins." "We will make a deluxe sushi for the whole class," said Yoko's mother. "Don't worry, my little cherry blossom. Everyone will try our sushi, and everyone will love it." On Monday morning, Valerie and her mother carried in a plate of enchiladas. Timothy and his mother made Caribbean coconut crisps. Hazel brought Nigerian nut soup. Harry brought Brazil nuts. Doris brought Irish stew. Tulip brought potato knishes. Monica brought a pitcher of mango smoothies. Fritz brought spaghetti. Big Frank cooked up a pot of Boston Franks and beans. And at noon, Mrs. Jenkins rang the lunch bell, and everyone sang the Clean Hands song. "What does International Food Day mean to us, boys and girls?" asked Mrs. Jenkins. "Try everything," said everybody. When Valerie blew the playtime whistle, there was not a nibble of nuts or a sip of smoothie left. But no one had touched even one piece of Yoko's sushi. Yoko sat under the learning tree. Suddenly, she heard the clickety-click of chopsticks. It was Timothy. He was still hungry. "Let me show you how," said Yoko. Timothy polished off the rest of the crab cones his own way. "Can we have sushi again tomorrow?" he said. "I'll ask my mother," answered Yoko. During the school bus song, Timothy found a coconut crisp in his pocket, and he gave it to Yoko. "It's even better than red bean ice cream," said Yoko. On the bus, Timothy and Yoko made plans to push their desks together and open a restaurant the very next day. And they did. They ordered tomato sandwiches and dragon rolls. For dessert, they had brownies with green tea ice cream. And they couldn't have asked for anything more.
These are the words of Joy Harjo in her poem entitled, "Perhaps the World Ends Here." The world begins at the kitchen table. No matter what, we must eat to live. The gifts of earth are brought and prepared, set on the table. So it has been since creation, and it will go on. We chase chickens or dogs away from it. Babies teethe on its corners. They scrape their knees under it. It is here that children are given instructions on what it means to be human. We make men at it. We make women. At this table, we gossip, recall enemies and the ghosts of lovers. Our dreams drink coffee with us as they put their arms around our children. They laugh with us at our poor falling down selves as we put ourselves back together once again at the table. This table has been a house in the rain, an umbrella in the sun. Wars have begun and ended at this table. It's a place to hide in the shadow of terror, a place to celebrate the terrible victory. We've given birth on this table and have prepared our parents for burial here. At this table, we sing with joy, with sorrow. We pray of suffering and remorse. We give thanks. Perhaps the world will end at the kitchen table while we are laughing and crying, eating of the last sweet bite. In the words of this poet, may we find wisdom we need for living, even this day. One of the things I do miss from our pre-pandemic life is eating in a restaurant. Reading the menu, making an intentional choice. Occasionally, I'll be venturesome and try something new. But most often, I'm a creature of habit. And I'll order the predictable favorite from that restaurant in the hope that they'll never take it off the menu. And whether your dinner table is a solo venture, or a two-seater, or a family affair, the perennial question of the day for so many of us is, what will we do for dinner tonight? Some households are super organized and they plan the meals, do the grocery shopping, and the menu set for the week. And others of us open the fridge and determine what is possible or what is needed for what is possible, to make something possible. And for all of us, food is essential. And for many of us, it carries the luxury of choice. For much of the world, food is focused on survival. The question is not, what will we do for dinner tonight? The question is whether we can eat tonight, not what we will choose to eat. I feel a kinship of embarrassment with a legendary community of complaint. As the ancient story goes, for generations, they had been exploited as slave labor. They weren't even second-class citizens. They lived in the barrio as a kind of permanent foreign worker with no real status except to be the outsider, the other. They provided the labor force for making bricks. Their ancestors had migrated south to Egypt during a time of famine. And the generations born there were ghettoized and used for manual labor, the kinds of work that no citizen would care to do. There came a time when population control measures were exercised, when the birth rate of these foreigners threatened the nationals, and they feared that they could become outnumbered. You know the story. An ingenious Hebrew mother placed her son in a basket to be floated down the Nile River, where the daughter of the Pharaoh would bathe each day. Under the watchful eye of that baby's older sister, the plan worked. And the child, Moses, was drawn out of the water by the princess to be raised in the palace, escaping the edict that would see all his male peers put to death. But the silver spoon was spit out of his mouth the day Moses saw an Egyptian assault one of his own people. And he took it upon himself to answer that violence with the ultimate violence. A wanted man, he fled from the palace to spend years eking out a living as a shepherd in the misery of the Midian desert. As the epic story goes, in midlife, his ghost caught up with him. And he went back to his people as a revolutionary but reluctant leader who ultimately succeeded in getting the Pharaoh to free his people. And that so-called freedom began a perilous journey that kept promising to return them to the homeland of their ancestors. And according to the story, they traveled much like many young children. Are we there yet? How much longer? Turns out the migration actually took generations. And in the displacement from their life in Egypt to survive in the wilderness, finding food was a constant and daily issue. Ironically, in the way that nostalgia alters memory, they began to romanticize about those not-so-good old days and complained that now there was nothing to eat in this God-forsaken desert. But back in Egypt, back when they were slaves, back when life was predictable, sure, life was hard, but their memory is they had lots of bread to eat. They didn't go hungry or live in fear of where they'd find their next meal. In answer to their complaints, the story has the sky god provide quail each evening so there would be meat to feed them every day. And the story has their earth god produce a flaky white substance they could pick every morning, but only enough for that day. And if they picked more than was needed, it would spoil. They complained constantly about the menu. There was nothing but manhu. That's what they called it, literally. What is it? There was nothing but manna to eat. In their great odyssey, they spent a lifetime learning to depend on daily bread, learning to resist the temptation to take more than they needed, learning to resist the urge to hoard, learning to fend off greed and selfishness, learning to trust the earth to provide each day what was needed for survival. Centuries later, their descendant, Jesus of Nazareth, would teach his friends to pray for daily bread, to pray for dependable, reliable, sustainable, sufficient food for the day, to seek the kind of consciousness that's deeply aware of how we eat and what we eat. And whether it's food from the meadow or the field or the river or the ocean or the forest, we are eating sun and rain. We are as dependent as the wilderness people on the gifts of earth that open to feed us. To pray for daily bread is an invitation to live from earth to table, to live with an awareness that truly we are what we eat, that we are synthesizing sun and rain whenever we eat. And we eat because a plant or an animal or a fish gives its life into ours. The poet is right. The world begins at the kitchen table. No matter what, we must eat to live. The gifts of the earth are brought and prepared, set on the table. So it has been since creation, and it will go on. And there is a danger that the poet is also right when she says, perhaps the world will end at the kitchen table while we're laughing and crying and eating of the last sweet bite. unless we learn how to eat in ways that ensure there is enough for all, in ways that allow the earth to thrive with clean air and soil and water, unless we can learn to respect limits, honor rhythms, rest the soil, respect the relationships of balance that the earth has known intimately forever, the world can end at the kitchen table. It's not just about our favorite enemies of big ag and pesticides and fertilizers and genetic modification and a host of other consumer-driven practices that threaten us. It's our own unconscious consuming that keeps us from protecting and providing for daily bread, for curbing our consumption and raising our consciousness, to eat in the ways that will ensure that the world keeps beginning at the kitchen table. Our inattention to the intelligence of the earth as the source of our food and drink is our ultimate threat. Back in the days of dinner parties, we had a lot of considerations about what was on the menu, addressing allergies and intolerances and preferences, figuring out how to accommodate and nourish each other. And now with our Zoom dinner parties, we're on our own to have food on the table so that we can sit down and turn our video on and feed our need for our bodies to eat and our need for each other. We can be a community of complaint like ancient Israel, focused on what we used to have, what we currently don't have. We can be focused on our deprivations and our limitations, our restrictions of choice, our freedoms. We can be focused on the bland boredom of manna and the harmful choices made by so many. Or we can be a community learning the work of daily bread, learning the work of eating consciously, sustainably, thoughtfully, carefully, attentively, so that what's on the menu is not only good for us, but good for each other, and good for Earth, and good for everyone. To eat in that kind of way is to proclaim that every day is Earth Day. Every day is sourced by sun and rain. That whatever it is that is on the menu is from soil, water, air, and fire. And we do have the power of choices, those choices that drive or eliminate markets. So what we choose to have on the menu, how we choose to grow and buy and consume food, is inevitably a choice for peril or a choice for promise. As the wisdom of the Earth Charter reminds us, the choice, well, it's ours.
As we share intentions with each other, we will speak words that are patterned on the prayer of Jesus and adapted from our dear friend Bob Hetherington. We speak these words together. We open to the sacredness at the heart of all, called by many names. We open to deep mystery we trust to be love. May we be faithful to the vision of building a beloved community on earth. May there be daily bread to nourish all hunger, forgiveness for the harm we have done, and the capacity to forgive those who have hurt us. May we not feel abandoned in hard times, but find the strength to meet each moment with the courage to walk in the light of deep gratitude. For the light of love is with us now and forever. Amen. As we share a few invitations with you, want to take this time to share that this is the last time that Micah and Carolyn will be with us before their wedding on the May long weekend. And so on behalf of the whole community of SSUC, we wish you our best wishes, and our hearts are with you as you celebrate this next step in your lives. And we wish we could all be there cheering you on, and we know that it'll be a wonderful, delightful, and small gathering and beautiful celebration. So best to both of you. A few invitations for today. We have coming up at 11:15 today, our post-gathering reflections, where we can share our experiences with each other of the theme of today. Join us at 11:15 on Zoom. You'll find the link in your messenger or on the website that you see there at the bottom of your screen. This is, now we're going to offer, starting this week, our reflection time at 11:15 will be offered every week. So join us whenever you can, each Sunday, for this time to chat and check in with each other on some key questions around the morning's theme. Would like to invite you to the second of our music and meditation evenings coming up this Tuesday, April 27th at 7 p.m. This is a Zoom gathering with poetry, music, meditation, sharing our own hearts, the things that are weighing on us joyfully and sorrowfully. So we invite you to join this Tuesday Nancy and Gord Oakes Jr. as they share and lead us in a time of music and meditation. Of course, we always are appreciating the ongoing support that you offer to SSUC. For those of you who have never stopped giving, whose donations continue month to month, we so appreciate what you have contributed and the way we've been able to keep supporting those things near to home and across the world that are dear to the values of the community of SSUC. If you'd like to donate today, if you've never donated before, there are a number of ways that you can do it, and they're all listed on your screen, and we appreciate every offer of help and donation that keeps us doing the work that we do together.
Tables are important in our lives. As the poet said, they're the classroom where we learn to be human, where we teach one another how to be in this world as the species that we are, with the consciousness we bring and the role we play. They are the laboratory where we practice how to live with each other, how to negotiate, how to find connection and communion. And in this time of isolation and separation, while we hold the dream of taking our place at the table with each other once again, we share a virtual table in this moment. We pause with the beverage of choice you have at hand, the food that you have that you can share in this time. We pause to be mindful that the food and drink we take into our bodies is the gift of the earth's body. It is soil, water, air, fire that becomes part of us. The bread we eat becomes our body. The drink we take becomes our blood. We share whatever food we have where we are, and whatever it is we're eating, wherever we're eating, we are each of us and all of us together, eating rain and sun. It is the earth meeting our hunger, becoming body and blood in us. So we take food, whatever you have at hand, whether it's a muffin or a cookie or a piece of bread. Let us eat, grateful for the gifts of the earth, grateful for the food we have to share, for the food that gives us the energy to be who we are and all that we are in this day. And we drink whatever is in our cup, whether it is the juice of a vegetable, or a fruit, or a bean, a leaf, a vine, whether it's the gift of an animal or the gift of glaciers, rivers, or wells. We drink rain and sun. It is the earth meeting us in our thirst, becoming body and blood in us. Whenever we come to our table, may we eat with a deep awareness on all that our life depends, and with gratitude for all that gives life for our life. May we be faithful to the life energy this food creates in us. as we close our time with each other, we take a moment to change the light of our candle, to change its energy from the form of flame to the form of smoke. And we witness its transformation. Just as the energy of food is transformed in our bodies to the energy we give expression to in the world, as we go into this time, may that energy be expressed as deep compassion, great patience, unending kindness, and deep peace. May you be well in this time. May you stay safe. And we look forward to the next time we gather at the table with one another.